Good day, my name is Mude Malava and I'm going to introduce my group members. We are going to be doing a presentation on the comparative education between the countries Lesotho and South Africa. This is Mbalenhle Ntuli. She's going to be doing the introduction and the conclusion for the case study. We have Jabulile Khumalo. She's going to be speaking on the structure and education system in South Africa and Lesotho. And then we have Nosihle Khumalo. She's going to be talking on the internal and external influences of each education system. We have myself. I am going to be speaking on productivity in each education system, and we have Lindela Nkabinde. She's going to be speaking on the strengths and weaknesses on each education system. We have Nokwanda Mbele. She's also going to be speaking with Lindela on the strengths and limitations in each education system. Lastly, we have Stembile Ntuli. She's going to be speaking on recommendations for each education system. Thank you.
Education systems are influenced by various conceptual factors such as geography, politics, economic condition, culture, religion, and historical development. These factors shape how politics are developed, how schools are managed, and how teaching and learning take place. The study of comparative education allows research and policymakers to examine similarities in system in different countries. This presentation compares the education system of South Africa and Lesotho by analyzing their structures, conceptual influence, and productivity indicators such as access, quality, outcome, and funding priorities. The aim is to identify strength and weakness and provide recommendations that can guide effective education reform in developing countries.
Structure of the education system in South Africa and Lesotho. South Africa. The education system in South Africa is guided by policies developed by the Department of Basic Education. One of the main laws that governs education is the South African Schools Act, which ensures that all children have the right to basic education. Education in South Africa is administered at both national and provincial levels. The national government is responsible for developing policies, while provincial education departments are responsible for implementing these policies and managing schools. The teaching structure in South Africa consists of several levels. This includes grade R, which is the reception year, followed by primary school from grade 1 to grade 7, and secondary school from grade 8 to grade 12. At the end of the grade 12, learners write the National Senior Certificate Examination, commonly known as Matric. South Africa also provides several support services to schools and learners. This includes the National School Nutrition Program, learner support programs, and funding for school in disadvantaged communities. Lesotho. The education system in Lesotho is managed by the Ministry of Education and Training. One important policy in Lesotho is the free primary education policy, which allows children to attend primary school without paying school fees. The administration of education is mainly handled by the government, although many schools are owned by churches and operated in partnership with government. The teaching structure in Lesotho includes early childhood education, primary education from grade 1 to grade 7, and secondary education from Form A to Form E. At the end of the secondary school, learners write the Lesotho General Certificate of Secondary Education. Support services in Lesotho include school feeding programs, learning materials, and assistance from international organizations that support education development.
I'm here to discuss the internal and external influences shaping South Africa's education system and also Lesotho. I'll start with the internal influences. Firstly, we have government policies and law guide. Here, education is guided by the policies from the Department of Basic Education, which sets the curriculum standard and also manages the schools. Secondly, we are facing economic inequality. The majority of schools in poor communities lack resources like textbook, proper infrastructure, practical labs, and also computers. Lastly, language diversity. In South Africa, we have 11 official languages which affect how teaching and learning are conducted in schools. Then the external influences. Under external influences, we have global education trends. We have many organizations like UNICEF and UNESCO that are shaping policies and goals. Lastly, economic conditions. As we have seen, the national department performance plays a significant role in shaping government education spending, and also highlights the interconnectedness of economic, policy, and educational outcomes. Thank you. The internal influences of Lesotho. Firstly, we have government education policies. Here, primary education is managed by the Ministry of Education and Training. Secondly, unlimited resources. There is a shortage of teachers and classrooms, also learning materials. Lastly, on internal is geography. In Lesotho, there are mountainous landscapes which hinders access to schools. Then the external influences. The external influences of Lesotho, we have international support. Organizations like UNICEF and UNESCO that fund and support education programs. Lastly, we have regional cooperation, collaboration with neighbors like South Africa that influence the development of the country.
Education comparison between South Africa, which is more developed, and Lesotho, which needs development through productivity regarding access, quality control, outcomes, and funding. South Africa access. South Africa gives good access to early school for young kids. Over 33,000 centers help more than 1 million children. Poor areas get extra healthy food and classes. Lesotho access. Access is weak in Lesotho. Only 62% finish primary school and just 42% complete junior high. Rural kids drop out more. South Africa quality. Quality focuses on basic skills for good school readiness. New rules make sure that kids start grade R at age 6. South Africa quality. Quality focuses on basic skills for school readiness. New rules make sure that kids start grade R at the age of 6 and funds for what good results. Lesotho quality. Quality is low and only about 20% pass maths and science test. Teachers lack tools, but new training helps repository. Lesotho quality. Quality is low in Lesotho and only about 20% pass maths and science test. Teachers lack tools, but new training helps. South Africa outcomes. Kids get fair chances no matter where they live, and this helps with long-term jobs and growth. Plans aim for better skills by 2030. Lesotho outcomes. Kids reach just 40% of their work potential and funding. Money goes to the new school, sports, and rural areas, and that is about 496 million, and the other funds pay for strong e-learning. Lesotho funding. High spending goes to keep kids in school, and World Bank helps with projects for teachers and basics.
Lesotho's education system benefits from strong community involvement in schools, with local communities contributing resources and support, boosting engagement and ownership. This grassroots approach helps drive local solutions. However, limited resources and infrastructure, particularly in rural areas, significantly affects education quality, with shortages of textbooks, classrooms, and qualified teachers.
I'm about to talk about strengths and weaknesses of South Africa. South Africa has progressive policies like outcome-based education and a focus on equity, aiming to address historical inequalities. Despite these efforts, inequalities in resource allocation, teachers' quality, and outcome between urban and rural schools. Quintile 1 to 3 and quintile 4 to 5 schools, and historical disadvantaged and formally advantaged school. Implementation gaps and socio-economic disparities hinder policies' effectiveness, and also improve teachers' training and support, particularly in rural areas. Enhances community engagement and participation in education. Thank you.
I'm going to speak more about the recommendations of the case country. we are going to look at the three aspects, which are adapt, adopt, and avoid. When we're speaking in terms of adopt, we are going to look at South Africa. South Africa, they have to implement South Africa's policy frameworks, where they have to offer policies that promote equity, access, and education. And also, looking at Lesotho, they have to also implement Lesotho's community involvement, where they encourage the community to participate in education through initiatives like community, schools, parent-teacher associations, and local education committees. When you're looking at the adapt situation, they have to offer vocational training in South Africa, where they develop vocational training programs tailored to local industrial needs, focusing on skills like agriculture, tourism, and technology. And also looking at Lesotho aspects, we are going to offer free primary education, where they implement a similar model, thus ensuring free primary education for all with integrated support for marginalized groups. Then the last one, we are looking at the aspects of avoiding. In South Africa, they have to avoid inequality, whereby they implement measures to address disparities in resources, such as allocations, infrastructure, and teacher quality between urban and rural schools. And also looking at Lesotho, they have to avoid high dropout rates, where they introduce programs to keep students engaged, such as bursaries, mentorship, and flexible learning pathways. Thank you.
In conclusion, the comparison between the education system of South Africa and Lesotho show how education systems are shaped by different social, politics, and economical concepts. Each system has unique strengths and challenges that influence its ability to provide quality and equitable education. Lesotho has made notable progress in expanding access to primary education and promoting free education politics, while South Africa continues to focus on improving quality, addressing inequality, and strengthening educational outcomes. For developing countries seeing reform, it is important to adopt successful strategies, adapt them to locally relative, and avoid politics that may not support long-term educational qualities, equity, and productivity.